All right, let's check out the lab. All right, so when we start up here, our login page has email password authentication as an option, like we did in Password Keeper, where we have this neato login with Twitter button. I'm gonna click this guy, and first time authorize it to use your account. We'll say authorize, and let's see. I'm gonna type this in here. So I got that, and this, and go ahead and remember me, and then authorize it, and then it comes through, and it's going to come back here, and in fact it even knows my display name here, and we see that we get something that looks at this point an awful lot like we had with weather pics, right? So we have a whole bunch of pictures, bridge, lightning, flood, hurricane, tornado, rescue workers. All right, six different weather pics, or pictures of your choosing, I guess, since it's PhotoBucket. But you'll notice here that there's this new button, Show Mine, right? So what happens when I click this? Like, I click it, and wait a minute, now there's only 4. The other 2 are gone, right? Show All. Oh, that's because those other 2 don't belong to me. Those belong to a different user, right? And as a matter of fact, if I try to click on one, so that's mine, I get it. Tornado, that was mine. Let's see, what about these 2 that aren't mine? Let's see. Starting at the bottom, let's see. So I can click into all of them. What if I try to edit them? So editing is okay. Let's see. So it's working just like the other, right? So there's nothing different here, right? Oh, except that when I get to this guy right here, this tornado, it belongs to a different user, right? So doing a long press, I can't edit or delete that one because that's one of the ones that wasn't mine. All right. So we've got some new stuff going on here to extend what we did in the first PhotoBucket lab. All right. So let's check out what we got here. So we are going to modify or rewrite it to, first of all, as you see, the big thing is authentication. Now I'm gonna say that 2 things. All right. So one is I want you to as a warm up, just do one of the ones that we did in the code along, right? In Password Keeper. I really don't care whether you use email password, Google Plus, or Rosefire. If it were me, I'd say whichever one is going to be most useful to me, right? So pick whichever one you like. But I am going to also require you to add one that we didn't do, right? So again, your choices there are Twitter, Facebook, or GitHub. I chose to do Twitter. I think that's a little bit, that's easier, and I have a few hints there for Twitter. But you honestly, you can do whichever one you like. So one that you've already seen and a new one, all right? As far as the UI goes, a couple options here. So you have options, as we said, to toggle between sort of our PhotoBucket here, right? So everyone's, or just your own only, right? So mine or all. Now, one other thing you're going to notice that is that the data isn't sandboxed, right? It's a little bit different than Password Keeper. We said that actually sandboxing all the data by UID was one option to secure it, but it's not the only one. And what we chose to do here is something that's a little bit different, and that's to put the UID as a field, as part of the model object, so that you see that we have weather pics, and then we have, the main structure here is kind of like movie quotes, right? I mean, we have the different push IDs, and then we have a model object under each one, only now the UID lives within here. Okay, and that's kind of neat. We're actually not worried so much about the rules on the back end, because we want the option to be able to see everyone's stuff, but we want to secure it within our within the app so that they can't overwrite other people's data, right? And what we're going to do to show all versus just showing my own is that a little bit different structure here is that you're going to, when you set the listener, you're not going to set it up on the reference directly, but on a query that's created from the reference. And the query is going to have a filter in it that's going to filter it just by your own UID. It's a little bit different structure than we did in Password Keeper. So you struggle through it a little bit. There's definitely hints in the lab, so you'll learn how to do it there. And really, honestly, I want you to know a couple different ways, because some of you, that's actually setting it up like we have here is really what you're going to want for your own projects, right? And I think it's really important that we know how to do either way. Okay. So that is the lab. It's going to be a lot of fun for you, right? It'll also be a good experience because you're building on your previous code. So now we get to see, did you do a good job on your previous code? Is it easy to extend or not, right? So should be fun. All right, I found myself actually when I did my extension here, I found myself rewriting some things from the first time that I had done it around. So no worries, all right? It's hard to get it perfect the first time. If you're at all concerned about learning how to use a new provider, I'd say don't worry about it too much. Like you're doing Twitter or another one in the lab. There are good resources. So using Twitter as an example here, right? You saw that there was documentation for all the different ones, right? So let's see, we'll let that guy load in the background. And also just mentioned that Firebase has been good about putting sample code up in their own GitHub repo. So there's an Android quick start that has a bazillion things in it, including different authentication. Okay, so coming back here, yeah, so link directly into this. So right below Google, we have Facebook, Twitter, GitHub. So there's instructions for any of these. At least when I was first learning it, Twitter seemed to be the easiest out of the three. That may not be the case anymore. They make changes pretty quickly. I have not yet tried Facebook or GitHub in the last few months, right? So who knows? Maybe something's changed. Okay, but learning a new provider, I think you'll have it. Right? Let's just wrap up here with sort of some parting comments or final comments about authentication. So one is that I hope you see here, Firebase really does make it easy to log in, either using their own email password system or using some of the third-party providers in OAuth 2, okay? Manages the session, does so many things for you. And the nice thing is that it's consistent in the SDKs between Android, web, and iOS. So the experience is going to be very similar on each, right? Just some links here for you, back to Firebase for the API and the rules. And just a final thought here about Rosefire. When you see stuff about sort of custom tokens and server-side stuff, that's where Tyler went to learn about the stuff that he was going to do for Rosefire. All right. That's it for the whole unit. All right, enjoy the lab. By the time you're done the lab, you're just gonna be awesome at authentication and ready to do your project. So go for it. All right, talk to you later.